welcome to the Cool-Kegs podcast, people.
Well, you know, this kind of
prisoners became the jailers.
Well, that's the thing, and mentioning the sea goat, it kind of segues in. So, did you know that the Navy funded a experiment back in the day? It was like in the 70s, 71. It was called the Stanford prison experiment, and basically, so what they wanted to find out, the whole purpose of this thing was basically, they took a bunch of college kids and put them in a simulated prison environment. And basically, they wanted to know what the psychological effects were of being either a prisoner or a guard. It's kind of famous. They made a movie about it, but long and the short, they had to shut the experiment down. What was it, like 4 days, 7 days? I have it in front of me somewhere here. They had to shut it down rather quickly because...
it was supposed to go on for 2 weeks, and I think they had to shut it down after just, like, fucking
a couple of days. Yeah, 6 days. It wasn't very long. Because what was going on is it was creating basically, what's the word for it? Tribal issues. And severe tribal issues. Like, these are just college kids, and literally, I mean, they would not eat. They would put them in a simulated hole. And I thought this would be kind of interesting going through a little bit of this with Kegs, because this is pretty much, this is your alley here. Have you heard of this before? Either of you?
Yeah, I actually remember reading watching a documentary on it.
Yeah, man, like, this one got me. I heard about this before the movie even came out, and basically... They think that it could have been a bias taint too, because the guards were influenced in a couple situations. So, it's kind of tainted work.
Well, I mean, the mock prisoners were having like severe emotional breakdowns, and there was like excessive aggression from all of the...
Shoot, man, there were riots. There were full-blown riots
and stuff.
Yeah, there was already full-blown riots and people starving themselves.
Damn.
Yeah, and in 6 days.
Something about it.
Yeah.
Reading something about that.
It actually messed up a lot of those kids too. This whole experiment.
They tried that in Georgia. It was called deliverance.
You got a pretty mouth.
Yeah, you got a pretty mouth, boy.
Well, I don't know. Kegs has probably lived through more of that than anything else, and he probably not a lot of great memories there. So. I can tell you guys.
I don't know, the it's not necessarily related, but I can say that we had a guy try to escape, and I'm not going to put any names in this one or anything like that, but just to put it bluntly, we had an electric fence. Your first obstacle trying to escape via just climbing out and going was a fucking electric fence of 150,000 volts. If you made it over that, you had one row of barbed wire that went into 2 rows, that went into 3 rows, which went into 4 rows, which then went all the way up the fucking outer fence, which was also topped with fucking just this ungodly looking tangle of razor wire. And this wasn't your standard Constantino wire, alright? This was fucking... I remember they had to do a repair while I was working there, and I was working, what the hell? I can't think of the word I want now. Escort for the guys that were working.
Yeah.
And one of the dudes, his hand slipped, and he ended up getting it through his glove, and he just went snip, snip with his cutters. Went, I need to go to the hospital, because the more you wiggle it and try and get it out, the deeper that shit would cut in.
Wow.
It's some gnarly shit. It's some gnarly fucking shit. But anyway, we're running. What was it? I think it was school, and which is a pretty big movement time. Everyone's headed back. And this one dude, like, tries to, like, slip off, right? And, like 4 or 5 of us, like, hey, man, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And he starts running. And we all kind of look at each other like, where's this fool going? Because where he was running was straight for the electric fence. Like, what the fuck? You know, and he whips his jacket off and fucking puts it on backwards a little bit. But he like, wraps it around his hands, and he's starting to try and climb. And I'm like, okay, cool. You're not getting shocked right now, right? So sergeant on duty runs over there, and he's like, and he, you know, he knew the prisoner by name, which I think we all did. He was a bit of a troublemaker. And so, but, you know, for his sake, we'll just call him prisoner. But he's like, prisoner, get down off the fence now, or I will tase you. And he's you know, fuck you, Sarge. But he called him by his name instead of Sarge.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, you got one more chance. I will tase you off of this fence. Well, he got the fuck you again, so he decides to fucking pop off his taser. Keep in mind, this guy's like 12 feet off the ground. And he locks up, but as he's twitching from the taser, because it locks you tight. I took the taser ride. It sucks dick. Fucking, he locks up and he's twitching, and fucking his hand slips onto the jacket, and it makes contact and completes a circuit on the fence.
Oh no. Oh.
So not only was he taking 50,000 volts from the taser for 5 seconds, he got a fucking probably a 2 or 3 second slam of excruciating pain from 150,000 volts from the fence.
I'm giggling because I'm thinking it's like a human, like, bug light, you know, like a swamp light.
Oh my god, dude, it was fucking... You know, and what happens is, here's the trick to not scream when you get tased. Empty all the air from your lungs, because they're going to constrict. If there's no air, you can't scream.
Okay. Anyway,
his ass must have taken a big-ass breath before this shit happened, because he's screaming like a fucking... I don't even know what a rape date. He sounds like a rape date. Best way to put it. Like, in all seriousness of the term. Hits the ground. He's still twitching. Tries to start getting up. Obviously, there was a dog pile on this fucker. We cuffed him up and brought him over to SAG, but it's just a fucking... Like, where did you think you were going? It was fucking great, though. Just fucking tased right off the